Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Providence Money Wisdom Podcast. I'm your host, Isaac, Client Advisor at Provident. Today I'm glad to have Chris, our CEO, to share more about his latest BT article titled Health Span, the Missing Piece in Retirement Planning. Hi Chris, welcome back.
It's good to be back. What happened to Amelia? I thought usually Amelia is supposed to be the one doing this.
Yeah, today I'm standing in for her, but I hope I can, at least keep up to her high standards.
No, I'm sure both of you will do very, very good. I mean, she's enjoying herself in Japan, so you have to work on behalf of her.
It's okay. Yeah, she deserves it. Of course, she's not there on holiday. She's there, at Provident, we have work from anywhere
that's
program.
right.
Yeah, so she's working very hard from Japan.
Japan.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just jump right into today's topic. And really it's, Chris, you have worked with so many retirees over the years. And, what's the biggest misconception that people have about retirement?
I think a lot of times it's not just about our retiree clients, not just about retirees in general, but even in the industry. Whenever we talk about retirement planning, it's almost always about accumulating more money, right? And then when I have that money, I can slow down and everything would be great, right? And a lot of times people think about retirement as the time in their life whereby they get to do everything that they want. They get to chase their purpose, they get to go travel, they get to do the things that they plan out to do because now they have time and they have money. I think it's a misconception because I think, yes, money is important, but money is not everything, because you can have money, but if you have not planned for the meaningful things to do in your life, and that's why, some months back I talked about Ikigai, right? Then yes, you can have money, but a person may end up with nothing really meaningful to do. Yes, holiday is great. People want to play golf every day after they retire, or at least they think that they want to play golf every day after they retire, or they want to travel every day after they retire. But retirees will know that after they do that for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, they realize that they just cannot do those things every day for the next 10, 20, 30 years, because retirement is a very long period of their life. The other thing is that they may plan for a lot of things that they want to do, but sadly, just when they want to do it, they may not have the health to do it. Right. So I think the misconception here is that it's not just about money. Retirement planning often is associated with accumulating more wealth, but it's really not just about that. It is also about thinking about the meaningful things you want to do and having the health to do it.
Right, that's right. I think that's why part of our discovery process, we don't just ask about their financial goals, right? It's not about just, what do you need in retirement? We run the numbers, we give you the numbers, we see how we can achieve that. But really having a deep conversation about their life goals, and also an often overlooked component is their interest, right?
That's right.
What are they going to do in retirement?
Right. And you really need to plan towards it. And I think that's where the misconception is, because retirees or pre-retirees, they plan a lot in the area of saving, investing, and accumulating their health. But I think maybe not enough thoughts go into planning for what they really want to do. I'm not talking about those play things. I'm talking about the meaningful things that will sustain them in the next 20, 30 years of their life. I think not enough planning goes into that, and not enough planning goes into making sure that they will have the health to do the things they want to do when they can do it.
Right. So with the overemphasis on finances, right? So how should we balance accumulating wealth towards this financial independence goal, and with prioritizing your health and, of course, maintaining your passions?
Yeah, so I think the balance would be that, yes, of course, as a wealth advisory firm, we talk a lot about how can one accumulate their wealth. We talk a lot about once a person achieved their wealth in their retirement years, how they can spend and draw down. That's our job, because we are a finance firm, right? We are a wealth advisory firm, right? But I think to balance it, I think we also need to help our clients think about what are the things, and we call it here at Provident the Ikigai things that they want to do. And when they have these things that they know they want to do, how can they arrange their financial affairs to enable these things? Because some of these things cost money to do. The other component which I talk about in the recent article, and that's why we are here, is that I've been thinking about, but the health part is also very important, because I mean, now have the money, I have the wealth, I may now have all my ikigai goals that I'm raring to go in my retirement. But then just when I'm about to do them, I don't have my health, right? So I think the balance would be to save towards your health. I think it's a concept that we need to understand, because saving towards your retirement, accumulating wealth up to a point whereby you have enough, takes time. It's not something that you can do overnight. You don't suddenly, I mean, maybe there are some people, they have a windfall and they suddenly have a lot of money overnight. But most of us, it takes time, slowly saving, careful investment before we get our wealth, right? We spend so much energy on that. And so to balance it off, I think we must also spend enough time to slowly accumulate towards our health. Because we cannot say at the age of 55 or 60 years old, when we want to retire, then suddenly we'll be in good health. It doesn't happen like that. It takes, just like accumulating wealth, it takes time to slowly build up our health, because it's years of what you eat, what you do, how you exercise, how you sleep, and all that, that ultimately will determine your health when you are 55 or 60 years old. So the balance here is, yes, take enough time to plan and execute your wealth plan, but also take enough time to plan and slowly execute your health plan.
Right. Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. I always, we always talk about wealth accumulation, but this time it's health accumulation. It's also important and often overlooked.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially important, because many times I think people, they look at things piecemeal, right? So sometimes people will say, no, I'm going to work very hard. I when I'm in my working years, I'm just going to work very hard, but their health suffer. And only when they are about to retire, then they start thinking about repairing that poor health. Well, it's better late than never, but maybe that process should start even earlier, so that at Provident, we always say having the highest probability of success where investment is concerned. In the same way, if you execute your health plan earlier, over 10, 15, 20 years, you have a higher probability of success of being healthy when you retire.
Right. And health also plays a big part in the legacy that you leave behind, right? So maybe you can share with our listeners and viewers, how does health span contribute to the kind of legacy that we want to leave behind? Yeah,
so first let's define health plan, or rather health span, right? Because a lot is spoken about lifespan, right? Lifespan typically, is defined as how long a person lives, right? But health span is the period of your life whereby you are healthy, right, versus your total lifespan, right? So assuming that a person's lifespan is 90 years old, let's just say that, right? If in your 90 years of your life, if 89 years you are healthy, you have a very good health span, right? If your lifespan is 90, but the healthy portion of your life, say, is 65, and the remaining 25 years, actually, you are living quite unhealthily, you are very sick, but you're just alive, because medical technology keeps you alive, then you have very poor health span. Now, I'm being simplistic, because if you have got good health span, you should have a good lifespan by right? But I'm just being very simplistic to help listeners understand what I mean when I say health span, right? The best thing that all of us want is that, and both Isaac, you and me would want, is that, let's say we have a life expectancy, or rather our lifespan is 90 years old, okay, and we have 89.5 years of our life being very healthy, with the last half year of our life being very unhealthy, then we die very soon. That is the best, right? Because we enjoy our life up to the last moment, and then when we are sick, we just die. We don't suffer too much, right? So that's health span. And we all want a good health span. Why? I've given many reasons for that already, but you mentioned legacy is especially important, because we can accumulate a lot of wealth, but if we don't have good health span, we are going to make use of a lot of that wealth to take care of our health. And in the end, we don't leave behind what we might want to leave behind for our beneficiaries, right? But a more important aspect of legacy planning is that how do you want to go, right? How do you want to go when you are old? Because how you go, in a way, determines the legacy you leave behind. How do you want your children to remember you? Do you want them to remember you as somebody that is very sick, very needy? You can't do most things yourself. They have to take care of you. They have to push you around. I don't think you want people to remember you that. Most of us, we don't want that because that takes away the dignity of our life, especially the last phase of our life, right? So we don't want that. We want them to remember us as somebody that is strong, somebody that is healthy. We want them to remember us as somebody who is disciplined to take care of our health, right? So when we take care of health span, we leave behind a good legacy, not just in terms of the wealth we leave behind, but also the memory of us and what we stand for in terms of being very disciplined to take care of our health. And I remember you sharing just before we officially recorded this podcast that that's what your parents want as well.
Yeah. I think for my parents, they spent many years, taking care of myself, my siblings, and we have very good memories. I mean, or rather, we think of them very well now, and of course, we want to have good memories of them when in the after they pass. But their biggest fear is really, that their last few years of their life, sour that bit of memory, that they have created within us. And so for them, they insist, like, if let's say they are really like it's very difficult to take care of them. For example, if let's say they are demented or they are
on life support,
they are life support. They insist that we put them into like a nursing home. It's not something that me and my siblings agree to. We had a few arguments about it, but it's something that they feel very strongly about. Because they cannot imagine, or they don't want us to think of them differently, after having to take care of them, let's say a decade of, taking care of someone who is suffering from dementia, can really be very tough. And because of as much as we don't want to, it will eventually, inevitably sour the memory of them.
Yeah, I actually think the same as your parents. In fact, I was just having this conversation with a friend just a few days ago, right? And I was just sharing with them that, when my father-in-law was very sick, the last few months of his life was really suffering. He was bedridden. He was a very strong man, a very proud man. He sells vegetable in the market. And even in, 6 months to a year before he passed on, he could still carry a basket of vegetable. You know how heavy that basket of vegetable is? And he could still carry it. But in the last 4 months of his life, oh my, he was a pale comparison, a pale shadow of his old self, right? And we have to engage like a helper. They have to clean him up. He was on diapers. He was just left with skin and bones. And I was thinking at that time, that I'm sure he knows what's happening. It's just that he doesn't have the physical ability to do anything about it. And I'm like thinking that inside that body, he must be thinking, just let me go, right? And I told myself, I don't want to be like that. And I was just having that conversation with a friend, and I said that if one day that happens to me, I really want to have the financial ability to just put myself in a nursing home. I don't want my children to have to take care of me that way. I know why you have that argument with your parents, because it sounds wrong. It sounds like we want to take care of our parents, which is great, right? But when you become a parent, I'm very sure as you age, you will think the same way, because we just don't want to burden our children, and we want to go in a good way. We want them to remember us in a good way. So that's my answer to your question on legacy. Having that health span in many ways contribute to us leaving a positive legacy for our family.
Hi listeners, thank you so much for your ongoing support. Some long-time listeners might know that the inspiration behind this entire podcast was our CEO Chris's book titled Money Wisdom: Simple Truths for Financial Wellness. If you're interested in getting your own signed copy, please check out the link in the show notes for more information. Thank you, and let's get back to the episode. There's a lot of costs involved, right? You mentioned that if let's say you are disabled, for example, you have to pay for nursing help, therapy, medication, and all these additional costs. But beyond that, right? There are some people with significant wealth that can easily cover all these additional costs. But how does could you expand a bit more on how does neglecting health planning affect those that even with significant wealth?
I mean, it's very hard to measure the amount of money that is needed. But generally speaking, the more wealth you have, it's quite likely the more you will spend to make sure that you get yourself back to health, right? So people who are wealthy, when they're down, they are sick, they tend to spend a bit more. And you have mentioned it, right? I mean, what are some of these costs? Hospitalization expenses would be a big one. Non-hospitalization expenses like alternative medicine will be another one. Then there will be things like assistive devices, caregivers, nursing home, incidentals that are not covered. Diapers will be one of them, and many other things. All these things can be very costly, especially alternative medicine, things that are not even in the drug list, things that even if you have an IP rider, maybe it wouldn't cover. So some of these things can cost a lot, and it can definitely eat into your wealth. And if you think about it, then why don't we spend, instead of spending money to care for ourselves when our health goes down, why don't we spend the money now to take care of our health before it even goes down, right? So that's why I talk about health planning. Think of it as accumulating towards the health that you want when you need it.
Right. So it ties in with wealth accumulation. Quite similar, right?
Quite
Let's
similar.
say you start investing early, you don't have to put so much in. It's the same applies for health, right? If you invest in your health early, the less that you might have to put time and money into it in the future.
Yeah, I hope that through this podcast and through the article that I've written, I would encourage people to look at it that way, that, we spend so much effort thinking of ways to accumulate more wealth in our retirement. Why don't we spend equal amount of effort to put in place a health plan to take care of our health?
Right. So retirement is often seen as an end, when we think of planning for retirement, it seems like, that's the end goal. And once you achieve it, you're like, okay, you're set for life, you can stop working. But in the article, you view it as a new beginning, right? So how can people embrace retirement as an opportunity for growth? And also, what parting advice would you give to our listeners?
Yeah, the way I look at retirement is that it is a phase of my life whereby I continue to do the things that I've always wanted to do. I don't look at retirement, I don't look at life as in, okay, when I'm young, I will do these things and I will leave those meaningful things until my retirement. Because life is not certain, right? I mean, if I push everything until retirement, I may never get to do these things because I may die tomorrow, right? So I will continue to pursue those meaningful things into my retirement. So it is ongoing. It is just that as I enter into this phase, quote unquote, called retirement, I mean, I don't like the word, but it's a word that everybody understands, right? Because retirement gives that connotation that, you don't do anything anymore, you don't work anymore, you just sit by the beach and you enjoy life. So I don't like it, but it's a word that everybody understands. Yeah, but retirement to me is a phase in my life whereby I continue to do those purposeful things that I've always wanted to do and have been doing even when I was younger. It is just that in this phase of my life, I should have more resources. I should have more financial resources if I've done my wealth planning right. And that's what we're trying to help our clients do. I should have more financial resources. I should have more time resources to do it now because I don't have a day job to go back to. I should have more time resources. Now I said I should, because if I didn't prepare myself for my retirement, I may not have enough financial resources. And even if I have enough financial resources, I may not have enough time resources because I'm supposed to have 30 years of my life to do, for example, if I retire 85, let's retire 55, and let's say my average life expectancy is 85. I should have 30 years of my life to do more of these things that I love to do. And every day I should have more time now because I don't have to go back to my jobs, right? My work. But because I'm not healthy, I got less time. Every day I've got to go and, let's say my kidney fails, I have to spend 3-4 days going to do my dialysis. I have less time in a day, and my lifespan is shorter. I have less time. So that is why, and I know that I am belaboring the point, but I hope the listeners out there, you get it. You get it, right? Retirement is a phase of your life whereby you really now get the chance to do the very purposeful things that you want to do in a much bigger way because you are supposed to have more resources. Make sure that you plan towards that day whereby you really have those resources, wealth, your health, and with health, more time.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Chris. I think it's really an important point that you brought up, that especially if, let's say, we view retirement as an end point, we wouldn't think about, okay, now that I have all this time and resources, I might not be able to live a life that is meaningful anymore, right? And we see that a lot in our line of work where people go into retirement, and because the work that they do brings so much purpose and meaning to their life, that oftentimes when they're in retirement, they feel, in fact, more miserable with more time and even resources that they have. So I think there's a very important point for all our listeners to know.
Yeah, the last thing I want to say is that I've written that in an article, but if you have not read it and you are listening to this podcast, I hope this has motivated you to do something about it. And health planning and wealth planning, they are in many ways connected. When we talk about health planning, it starts first with doing a very targeted health screening to know where you are today in terms of your health situation. It's no different from when we do the wealth planning for our clients. We start with financial health, establishing our clients' financial health, because we want to know where they are today, whether they are healthy, for them to do the things that they want to do going forward. Are they financially healthy to invest for the long term? In health planning, it's the same. You start first with a targeted health screening to know where you are today. And based on your health situation, you put in place various plans. Right? The first plan you put in place is your exercise plan. Your exercise plan would include, firstly, your cardio training, secondly, your strength training, and thirdly, your stability training. Think about what are the things that you want to do when you retire. Think about what are the things you want to do in the last 10 years of your life. You just cannot expect yourself to be able to do those things like carrying your grandchildren, going for a hike, going for grocery shopping, carrying heavy bags of groceries, if you don't train towards it, right? So exercise is important. Based on your health screening, your health situation, decide the medicines that you might have to take, whether Western medicine or traditional medicine. Think about certain supplements that you have to take. For example, I have vitamin D deficiency, right? And most office workers will get vitamin D deficiency because we don't go out to the sun enough.
Yeah, we're sheltered
most of the time, right? Even on a Sunday, you can go out the sun the whole day. You still might not get enough because throughout the week you're in the office, right? And so if your health situation tells you that, then you might have to take a bit of vitamin D supplements, right? So medicine and supplements. Think about some of the nutrition that you need to, or some of the food that you need to eat based on your health situation. Maybe you're protein deficient, maybe you're on too much carbo, right? Think about that. And once you have that health plan, some of these things cost money. I know we always say, no health, no wealth. But the reverse is true. No wealth, no health. Because some of the things that we want to do, health screening, nutritious food, exercise regime, they cost money. So the next time when you plan for your retirement, don't just save money and invest to enable your ikigai goals. Think about how you should arrange your financial affairs to enable your health plan as you go into retirement, so that you have money, you have purpose, and you have health to do all these things.
Right. So to all our listeners, I can vouch that Chris takes his health very seriously. Last year, for example, we had the Pacer Challenge. Chris is always topping the charts in the number of steps he accumulated. And company-wide, we also have regular health screening. It's an initiative by Provident also to subsidize this, ensuring that all our staff, is go for our regular health screening. And not just the comprehensive one, sometimes some are more targeted as well.
That's right.
So it's something that
we truly believe in.
And it's not just,
it's not just for a podcast we say this, but at Provident, every year we have a health plan, or I don't know what I call it. We have something for our people to do to take care of their health. I mean, that's as much as we can do, right? As a company, we want to encourage our people to make sure that they keep fit and they be healthy. But it just goes to show that we are not paying lip service. It's something that I believe in, and something that the firm believes in.
Right. Okay, so that's all for today's episode. Thank you so much once again, Chris, for your time today. So to all our listeners, I hope you enjoyed our discussion on Chris's BT article titled Health Span, the Missing Piece in Retirement Planning. So as usual, a link to the Business Times article will be provided below. And if you like this episode, please follow and rate our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Bye. All analysis, views or opinions from interviews, recommendations and other information broadcasted, podcasted or published herein are provided for general information purposes only. Information expressed does not take into account any specific situation, particular needs or objectives, and should not be construed as specific advice or a recommendation. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but their accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed. Always consult with a qualified investment, legal or tax professional before taking any action. Provident Limited does not accept any liability for any loss whatsoever arising from any use of the information broadcasted or published herein. All contents and information contained herein may not be copied or reproduced in whole or in part by any means without prior written consent of Provident Limited.